It can
You
be
wait when they give
awesome.
you a test.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so yeah, so let me say that by Tuesday, people should have brought their homework. David, are you aware that you have PHP homework?
Yes,
I
I'm
want to
aware.
pardon.
I'm aware I had scheduled to do it today, but has not been. I'm doing it tonight.
But the
David,
dog,
you're lying.
No, I'd actually scheduled that I will do it today, but time ran so fast.
why would
Guys,
you do
even me, I
that?
thought I would finish mine today before the class in the afternoon, but then things went south. So I'm sorry, I apologize. But I think
Your
if power
apology,
comes back tomorrow, I'll work on mine.
your apology has been received with a penalty of $20.
But honestly, what was the homework?
It's there in the. Did you get the code we shared? I shared. She's like, oh, did you get the code?
The one who didn't know about the homework is paying $50.
Of course. The one who was disturbed by the dog of 65. You know, that's a, yeah, so I'm going to make a video on YouTube, how to make $150 per week. Go and give start a code mentorship program, then give homework to your students and make sure that whoever doesn't deliver the homework, they pay a particular amount. So that's how to make $150 in a day, in a week. All right. So let's get started. Master loops in PHP 101. Before we do that, Sharon, could you ask your question? You said you had a question. Okay, I'll assume Sharon is not there or she's not hearing. So guys, let's start with our loops. So in PHP, there are like 3 loops, if I've not forgotten. There are like 3 loops. One of them is the do, while, condition loop. And then there's another one, which is while, condition, then the code loop. And there is a for, then initializer, condition, ready? And then increment or decrement. And then block of code. Then there is a for each for each, which is, how can I, for each items as item, then code, and yeah. Is Sharon back? And you ask your question before we go to the loops? your question before we go to the loops?
Yes.
Yes, Sharon, what's your question before we go to the loops? We've started here. Oh, so Sharon is not there. So what's the purpose of loops? What loops do is a simple thing. They run a particular piece of
Here.
They run a particular piece of code. Please go ahead. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I was talking when it was muted.
Okay. Sorry, okay. Go ahead.
I want you to pardon your explanation.
Sorry, go ahead.
Pardon your explanation why 0 wasn't working.
Why 0 wasn't working?
And I wrote down.
Why 0 wasn't working?
Yes.
How didn't 0 work? Like,
and there's a way I wrote my switch case.
Oh, with the switch case statement. Okay, thank you very much. So other people like David, thank you very much. Could you help me? Like could you volunteer and you explain? Could you break down what? And you explain? You break down what? Sharon, guess what? I'm getting feedback from your side.
I'm also getting feedback.
I'm getting feedback from your side.
I'm also getting feedback.
Oh, sorry. Let me mute.
Okay. Yeah. So David, I was requesting you to volunteer, step in, volunteer, and try to break down what reason we gave for the 0 not to have worked in the switch statement we did last time. Let me try to open that code over here, but you can also open yours, that side. David, are you there? Don't mind about the dog.
Yes, I'm here.
You are just saving yourself some $5.
$5?
Hey, you are saving yourself $5 from the 65.
Okay, why the switch statement didn't work?
Yes, she mentioned the 0, but you can go with that. Why the switch statement did not work with the use case we were testing. I think the code is yeah, the code is here, and is the code here? Yes, the code is here. And so Sharon, who was asking us where the homework is, if you are looking at my screen, you see this line number 45 to line number 49. That was a challenge.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Line number 49, that was a challenge. Okay, good. All right, good. So David, okay, yeah, good. Over to you. All right, good. So David, yeah, over to you. Please, Sharon, mute. Okay. Please, Sharon, mute.
So the switch statement, it compares like if you like the variable that is here. Okay, the variable student marks, yeah. It will substitute it for, okay, it will compare if it is similar to any of those cases. Yes, and then it will execute the underlying statements. So since for it to work, for us we had supplied ranges, yeah, which evaluate to booleans. And yet for it to work, it should take in like the same, okay, it should compare, it should be able to compare the same things. Like if you have integers and something, it should compare integers. And then The input should be one of these cases. Yes.
Okay. Wow. I think you've nailed it. Let her tell us if she has understood. Sharon, unmute.
Yeah.
Sharon, unmute. So can you
Yes.
break down what David has just said? So can you break down what David has just said?
Okay, he said that the switch case statement compares what is in the variable with what is in the different cases.
Okay. Yes.
So
Okay, go ahead, please.
yes.
Okay, go ahead, please. Okay. So I would say that the value you see here on line number 69, which looks like an argument in a because the switch looks like a what? Looks like a function. Okay. So we are passing in student marks. Now, for each case, student marks is going to be compared or related to each value at the case. So the case is a keyword. After the case is a value. Now, at a certain point in time, this value has to be compared with this value. And the moment they find the matching value, the code before the break gets executed. Okay, the code after that case, but before the break gets executed. In any case, they don't find a value that is similar to the value in student marks, they will execute the default case. And the default case is specified by the default keyword. So for that case, you cannot have, for that case, you have to explicitly specify your values at the case level. You cannot use comparison statements the same way we had used here. Simply because comparison statements will end up giving you a true or false as the value, and the true or false might not be the similar value at the value you've supplied as an argument to the switch statement. All right, let's proceed. I guess you've got that. Okay, so today it's a Saturday and we are in the Saturday and we are looking at the loops. So the way I would explain the do while loop is that the do while loop will execute the statements that are in the curly brackets after the do. Then it will continue executing those statements for as long as the condition in the while is passing. At first, it will execute this code, the code in the do, but it will repeat executing that code if the condition in the while is still true. Okay, so I'll try to put an explanation here, and I'll make the explanation probably a comment. The code in the do block will be executed once and then repeated for as long as the condition given to the while is true. So allow me to word wrap. Okay, and also zoom in a little just for people who are on phones. There you go. And I'll collapse this one to get more space. Okay, So let's see how it works in real life. We assume that assume you are having a register, and no, just assume that you are registering people. So people are queuing, okay? And as they, whichever person leaves the queue, you register that person. Then, but there are times that when only one person comes, all right? So when that person, when it's one person who comes, you want the program to prompt you once to enter information. But if more than one person has come, you want the program to prompt you for those number of times so that you can supply information 4 times, for example. So let's see, we can say, we can put our PHP here and close it here. Then we can say, do echo, please enter information. Okay. Then we shall break the line after asking that, after telling the person, the user, to enter information. Then we can say while. So we shall put a variable here and we shall say our customers in queue. Okay. Then we shall say, first we shall say 1. Then we can put our condition here, customers in queue. Let's say customers in queue equals to what? Equals to 1. If we do this, the condition will be true forever and ever. But how shall we close it? Let's see. So where am I wrong? Okay, so now we are going to check in the browser, but pardon me, I did not start my MAMP, so I have to start MAMP. Yes, there you go, it is starting. And then I'll close this. And then how will I go to it? We have PHP mentorship folder, and in it we have week 8. And in week 8 we have Saturday. All right, do you see this information that is showing on the screen? It is showing on the screen and you are seeing that please enter information now, and it has even crashed because it is an endless loop. Why is it an endless loop? We've assigned customers in queue to B1, and we've come to the while and we said that as long as the while is equals to 1, so that means whenever it's 1, it's going to keep doing what? It's going to keep running this condition, this statement here, because we said that the do while, in the do while, the code in the do block, which is this code, will be executed once and then repeated for as long as the condition given to the while is true. Where there is repeated, you can also put loop. Okay, so how can we stop the endless loop? We can say for as long as the customers in the queue are greater than 1. That means that the moment this thing sees that when it's repeating the loop, if it sees that the customers in the queue are not greater than 1, it will stop prompting you. Excuse me. So I'll go over here and refresh. Do you see that? It has now done it once because the condition in the while is no longer true. Let's continue. Or do you have a question before we continue?
No questions.
Oh, great. Thank you, David, for answering. Yes. So can I give another example? Let me give another example of a do while, okay? And I'll put here a comment, example 1. So another example, this time around, we shall say customers in queue. This time, let's just say students in queue equals to 4. Then we can say do, and I think we can also, isn't it possible? Oh, looks like someone wants to say something. Okay, I'll proceed. I'm not sure if this has the other, but let's try it and we see. While students in queue are less than 5. So saying do, then we shall echo, enter your name, and we shall break the line. Let's see if this works. Oh, looks like the do while does not have the, how do we call that? The format where I use the colons. I've never tested it out. And it's also in rare cases that I've used the do while. But now that I'm showing you, I believe like I should have used it in certain cases. All right, like cases where we've ran for loops, yet we want for loops when we wanted only one thing to happen. Cases like when we do a for loop and then we do an if condition, you know. So anyway, let's proceed. So here we are saying that do this while the number is less than 5. The number of the students in the queue are less than 5. But then how will they become less than 5? How will they become less than 5? Or how will they become greater than 5? Because we just want, for as long as it's less than 5, let the condition run. But the moment it's not less than 5, the condition shouldn't run. So that means that we can increase the number of students. Can we increase or decrease? So instead of doing less than, let's do a greater. We shall do a greater than 1, okay? Then here we shall do customers. Oh, not customers, students in queue. Do what? Minus, minus. I think you remember the decrement and increment. So what this, before I even explain, let's take a look at the screen and we see what we are getting. So I'll refresh, and guess what? It has asked to enter your name 3 times. And okay, let's do this. Let's do this. I wanted to add a number to it, but I wanted to add a number. So I'll say position is equal to 1. And then I will put here position. Okay. Then, and I put a double colon here. And then I will here, I will increase the position to plus. So, and I will go here and refresh. And you can see that it says, enter your name, enter your name, enter your name 3 times. Why does it ask us to enter the name 3 times? It is asking to enter the name 3 times because at first it gets the person, it gets the position and it substitutes it with this position here, and it enters and it outputs that information on the browser. After outputting the information, it increments. So the position which has been 1 becomes 2, and the number of students that has been 4 become 3 because it has reduced. Then it will check over here and it will check that is the number of the students in the queue, are they greater than 1? Because by the first time it concluded, it left that the students in the queue were 3, it will come back and do execute the do block. This time around, it will find that the position has 2. So it will output 2 and enter your name. It will increment the position, which it had left at 2, now has become 3. Then the queue which was left at 3 has become 2. All right. Now it will come back and check, and it will find that the students in the queue are 2. All right. Now, because they are 2, what it's going to do is that it will come here and put 3 because it left this when it was at 3. So to output 3, enter your name, and it will increment the position. That means the position will become 4. Then the students will be decremented to 2. Is it to 2 or to 1? And then it will check over here and it will find that, yeah, it will be decremented to 2, and it will find that 2 is greater than 1, and it will go back like that. That's how this do while works. And the only way for you to stop it from running is making sure that the condition here in the while will reach a moment when it will be a false. But for as long as it's true, the code in here is going to continue running. We can also do this. We can also echo our students remaining on the queue. Is it in or on the queue? Then we shall put the students in the queue, shall output them here in queue, and then we have to break the line so that the things look better. And just a moment, I think I need to output something here. to the browser. I think I need to output H3 example results from example 1, H3. And then I have to end the PHP tag there. Then I have to put H3 here, results of example 2. And close that and then put PHP here. Okay, now let's check it out. Then I think somewhere here, we are going to echo started with. So I'll put students in queue. Started with the students on the queue. So I have to break. Okay. So what is happening is that we want to understand this example better. So we are outputting the number of students we started with. They are going to show us the position of that student in the queue. And then they are going to tell us the number of remaining students. And once that's done, we shall get, once that's done, we can echo out here that congratulations. So we shall output that, and then we can go back to the browser and you can see that here it says start with, no, it was supposed to be started with, but I guess you understand. Let me just correct it so that I can read it properly. And I think I need to zoom my browser a bit. So it says over here, started with the 4 students on the queue, then enter your name, then student remaining on the queue 3, enter your name, student remaining on the queue 2, enter your name, student remaining on the queue 1. You see that? So that's it. And or maybe we can, yeah, excuse me. Instead of going to the code, I ended up going in a wrong place. So that's how the do while works. So we can even say here that equals, so that we can get the last student. Okay. So whereby we say greater or equal. Why? Because we know that this thing reduces, and once it reaches the 0 student, it will stop executing the do while, but we shall know that we shall be able to enter 4 students, you know. So we can say here, enter student name. Of course, we are not getting the prompt because we are not working on the UI to ask people to enter name. We are working on the back end, and the back end receives input from the command line or network protocols, but not from the UI. Okay, so we shall do that. And you can see started with the 4 students on the queue, enter student name. So in case you enter the first student, they'll tell you they are students there. The remaining students on the queue are 3. They'll ask you to enter the student name. If you enter it, they'll tell you they are 2. Then you enter another one and they tell you it's 1, and you enter that one. And the moment we get to 0, then the condition after the while the do while statement will be executed. Clear? Are we good? I need to hear from you people. Are we good? Sorry about the bad network. We've not heard clearly, but I guess you said yes. Yes, somebody else. You are welcome.
Yes, we are
aboard,
good.
Peter. Okay, David, thank you.
Yes, thank
Peter,
you so
are
much.
welcome. How are
Thank
you?
you, David. I am good. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah,
Yeah,
when
I'm
did you
sorry I'm in a
join?
noisy, sorry, I'm in a noisy place. I don't have my computer. I'm using my phone today.
Oh, thank you for turning up. Thank you for
Okay.
turning up. And I hope that you learn and use the knowledge, you know, because you are dedicated and committed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at another loop statement, and then we call it a day. We shall continue with other loops some other time. So let me go over here. So we said we have a do while, and we've looked at that. Then we have a while. So now the while is a little bit not so involving, but you need to be very, very clever when you are using these loops, okay? So I'll put H2 here, and let me see, did I put, yes. So I'll put H2 here, and I'll write while condition, then like that. Let me put block here and then write statement here. So we can get our first example. We can get our what explanation in the HTML comments. How does the while work? It's simple. The while executes the code in the block for as long as the condition you've provided to the while is true. All right. So that's, remember, the do can execute, like in this example one, it executed once, you know, and it checked whether the number of customers in the queue are greater than one. Once it found out that indeed it's only one customer, it did not execute the statement another time, you know. So for the while, you don't have that chance of executing once if the condition, whether the status of the condition is false or true. You get? Yeah. So we shall continue. We shall go and write some PHP code. So for example, if you say while what example can I bring? Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to think of an example, but it's very okay. There are times when, like, if we relate to maybe food, okay, when food is on the plate and you've not yet finished or emptied the plate, you continue eating, okay? So what we can say now is that is food on plate equals true, okay? So we are going to execute some statement based on that condition. We are going to check whether it's indeed true, okay? So this one means that the code is not gonna, we are going to run an endless loop, I have to warn you, you may see the browser crashing because we don't have anything that switches, that shows the program that indeed the plate is empty. So I'll echo, I am eating, and then I will break. No, but I'm not going to break. So it prints across the screen. It's going to print across the screen things, and then, yeah, like that. So let's test it. And I will scroll down. Do you see that? It says I'm eating, and you can see the browser is refreshing here. It's loading. It's not finishing to load until when the browser might crash or our computer may hang, you know. And yeah, you can see that, you know, it's never ending. It's still printing and printing and printing. So what we can do, if that's not the case we want, we can do something. So for example, those people who do JavaScript, this is one way you can display things on the, how do you call it? This is how you can display random things on the web page without really struggling. You can also do it with PHP, but the server will crash and you can see, you know, it has crashed because our code is not ending. So we can end it with something. We can use something like a counter, okay? So we can say here, yeah. No, let me put it down here. Let me put a comment down here, and we say, be careful with the loops because they can result in endless execution. Okay. Yeah. So we can now, what we can say is that if we want the while to echo once, we can come here. No. Let me just comment this code out and I explain it. So we can say, for example, the code above causes an endless loop, which is most times undesirable. All right. So now, if we were using the same code, what we would do is simple. We would have to come up with something that stops the code from executing. For example, I can come outside the while loop and say food is false. This means that the while will be executed, and then the next step, when it's going to check whether the plate is still true, it might, I don't know if it will even jump out of the loop, but let's see, because if it jumps out of the loop, it will find that this has been set to false. Then on checking, it won't be able, but let's see. Let's refresh, come over. So it's still unable to jump out of the loop. It's unable to jump out of the while. Every time it prints, it goes back to check. So what we have to do is to come inside here, and we say that we can say that if the printing, if the eating has been done, let me say if we've spent 10 minutes eating, we stop. So we can come here and say minutes. If minutes greater than 10, we can say stop eating, okay? And how do we say stop eating? We set the food on plate to false, or we can come over here and introduce a new variable, which will be like still eating. We can set true. And then we also introduce the minutes, which is equal to 0. But whenever this thing outputs the I'm eating, we are going to increment the minutes. We are going to add to them a minute, or we can even say equals minutes, for those who don't remember, plus 1. Okay, let me put this one in comments just in case. So we are going to do that, and then we shall do what? Then we shall, let me see. Yeah. Then instead of setting food on a plate to false, we shall say still eating equals to false. Then that means that it will print this 10 times and stop. Let's see. Ooh, wait a moment. Wait a moment. Here it's incrementing and going back and checking and incrementing. Yeah, it can't stop because in the conditions I have is food on the plate instead of having this. So if I use this, then if I set still eating and the still eating is the variable I'm based on to stop the while loop or to continue it, then it's the one that should be in the while. Okay, still eating. So let's see now. We shall reload and go over here. Have you seen? I'm eating. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I think 11. Because it started from the 0 minute to the 10th minute. And those are 10 steps. Those are 11 steps. I guess you know that. So guys, that's how we can use the while loop and the do while loop in PHP. This similar syntax applies to all programming languages that use the while loop, including JavaScript, Java, C and C++. I don't know if Python does it, but that's the same. The syntax is the same and the process is the same. But what you have to put attention to is that I want to stop this at a certain moment or not. If you want to stop it, come up with a condition that will stop it. If you don't want to stop it, feel free to leave it continuing. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Any questions? I'm taking questions because this is the last example, and we shall look at we shall continue looking at loops in the next session. Any questions or comments? Unmute and
Coach.
go ahead. Yes, David.
There's a time
Coach, I have a question.
Sharon, hold on for a minute for David to finish.
Sharon, could you
can
hold
mute yourself,
on
Sharon.
a minute for David to finish?
There's a time that we used full colons, like when we were doing conditional statements.
Yes.
There are times that we used full colons to indicate blocks when we are doing conditional statements.
Yes.
Does this apply to loops?
Good question. It applies to the while loop, to the for loop, but I'm not sure with the do while.
Okay.
For example, you are welcome. For example, we can copy the code in the while. And just do it again. Excuse me. Now that the still eating has been set to false, I need to reset it back to true. Still eating equals true. And then I need to use the colons and while. Yeah, that's how. Then what is gonna happen? Okay. Yeah, what is gonna happen? For this one, let me print it when it's breaking so that we can separate it from the other example. Is that all right?
Yes, it's all right.
Okay, thank you. So you can see that for this loop here, I've used this and this, not the curly brackets. Let me also use the same for the if. It's not, you can
I think the minutes will have to be reset also.
You are very, very right. All right. So let's go ahead. Okay. And test on the browser. So you can see that it has also worked. It has also worked. So that's the thing. You can use these colons and the end while or end together with a loop. Like if it's a while, you do end while. If it's a for, you say end for. If it's for each, you say end for each. Okay, so that's simple. I believe they got the syntax from Python or Python, because Python.
Python does the same, but it doesn't do the end bit.
There are some where I think it does. No, maybe. I'm not sure. So that's it. Any other person with a question or comment?
Okay. Yeah, I was asking.
Yes, please.
Why does the while loop behave that way?
Yes, please.
For the first case scenario.
The first case scenario, it's a do while.
The first case scenario, it's not a while.
So
that's while loop, which was looping infinitely.
Because the condition here, we were not.
The condition
was remaining true.
We were not. The condition was remaining true.
If the condition remains true, the block of code in the while
the condition remains
is going to continue running.
The block of code in the while is going to continue running.
Consider that the while has some if statement in
Consider that the while has some if statement.
That's why we say in the syntax, that's why we refer to this area that are violated.
That's why we say in the syntax, that's why we refer to this area that are violated. That's why we refer to it as a condition.
So it's like the while runs and also checks. It's for looping and
so it's like the while runs and also checks. It's for looping and checking.
Whenever it outputs this code over here, it goes.
Whenever it outputs this code over here,
the condition that we supplied to it. If the condition is true,
the condition that we supplied to it. If the condition is true,
becomes false,
come back and run this code. The condition.
Okay, so why do you always put, or why do we put and if and while and what while writing PHP and HTML together?
Oh, that's not PHP and HTML. And while.
Oh, that's not PHP and HTML.
PHP.
And while and
but
PHP.
Where we are mixing the PHPs here.
But where we are mixing the PHPs here.
Because we are displaying the browser.
Because we are displaying the things to the browser.
If you don't mix this HTML
if you don't mix this HTML in PHP, then we shall not have the things we are outputting won't appear.
Since this is a
the
browser,
order that we want it
was
to
a command
appear.
line, we would
Yes,
use
this is the browser. If it was a
symbols
command line, we would use
slash and n.
special symbols like
called the return characters.
backslash and n.
Then the
they are called the return characters.
Is an option.
Then the end if
for the
is
brackets.
an option.
Instead of having this
The
opening
brackets.
bracket,
Instead of having this opening bracket,
you have a
you
colon.
have
And instead of
colon.
having the end bracket,
You have a colon.
End
And instead of
while
having the
or
end
end
bracket,
if it was-
you have
if it
the
was an
end
if.
while or end if it was an if.
Yeah.
So
it's just different, slightly different.
Okay.
In fact,
so it's just
PHP
different,
came with
slightly different.
curly brackets
In
at
fact,
first.
PHP
As
came
they
with
went on
the curly
upgrading
brackets at first. But as
it,
they went on
brought
upgrading
these
it,
things.
they brought these things.
The end if and the end while and
Okay.
end or.
The end if and
All right. I hope I've answered you.
Yeah. It makes sense.
All right. That's good. Thank you. Of course, you have to continue looking at the code for you to be able to understand it more. You need to practice. After here, I'll share the code. I am requesting Fanny to send the link for attendance if she's still on. She's off. So she will send it. She will send it to you, or I will send it to you as individuals in your individual WhatsApp group, because we can't send it in the overall WhatsApp group since since other people who did not attend will apply, will fill it. David, do you want to say something?
No, I was just taking a breath, a deep breath.
Okay. All right, guys. See you next time. Thank you for attending today's session, and thank you for being interactive.
Yeah, thank you too for the session. Today, no homework.
No homework because you already have homework.
Okay, next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. Bye.